a bit of a drive, and we got there probably what 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or something like that.
I would
I can't
say
remember
so.
what time our tour started, but yeah, we got
I
to
would
town. It's just like a normal, regular Iowa town, like with the town square. Like it reminded me a lot of where Brandy's from, Jefferson,
mm,
Iowa.
okay.
So yeah, we got there. I remember there was a drugstore called Stoner Drug.
Was there? I don't remember
Yeah,
that. That's awesome
I
though.
took a picture of the sign, Stoner Drug. I thought it was funny.
I think we stopped into, I remember going to Casey's when we first got there, probably just to stock up on stuff and maybe refill gas because it was quite a drive. Um, and we stopped into a local bar to grab like a beer or two. Um, I think there was a younger lady that she was the bartender, and we were kind of making small talk, and of course
I
we're
think we
like,
ate there too, didn't we?
oh, did we? Yeah, we might have. Maybe
I
yeah,
think so. Got like a
yeah,
hamburger and a beer.
okay. And I remember we were talking to her and mentioned, hey, we're here for the Villisca house. And she kind of cautioned us that, like, she was cool about it, but she kind of cautioned us, like, don't really say
Make
that,
it
like,
known.
make it super known that that's what you're there for, because some people in the town, it rubs them the wrong way. Um, I don't know why it would, I guess. Maybe just because it's going back to how horrible of a crime it was, and a pretty religious town, I would assume. Small Iowa, southern-ish.
Could be
It's
that,
gonna
or it could
be,
just be tourists are annoying.
yeah.
So a lot of people from out of town are, either just annoying or disrespectful or something like that.
And yeah, and I'm sure there's been some people that went into that trip and basically treated it like a party. Like, come on, like they
True.
like they rent that out, and it's constantly has bookings all the time. They have to be making bank off of this property.
Yeah.
And uh that there has to be some people that are like, let's go to the murder house and freaking just get tore up, and like, and I'm sure there's been moments where people are like,
Do you think the cops ever get called there?
I'm sure it's happened. That'd be an interesting thing if we ever go back to ask them about, like, what was your worst guest? Like, they
Oh
have to
yeah.
have one, or a worst experience, not necessarily like name, like, oh, it was Dave Smith from Monticello, that asswipe,
Dave
but
Smith, the libertarian comedian.
yeah, yeah. It was, yeah, he brought the Legion of Skanks with him.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting
Uh,
watch.
yep.
But so yeah, after the bar, we went to there was a museum, which we had kind of touched on in the last episode, I think. It wasn't really that remarkable museum. It was kind of like a really small county museum kind of thing, like just a personal collection. Had kind of weird knickknacks. And we had a tour where I don't know, was it the owner's wife or was it like an employee that worked there that
I
took
feel
us to the
like,
house and to the cemetery and gave us a little rundown on the history there.
yeah. I can't remember if it was exactly the wife or maybe like a daughter-in-law or something like that,
Yeah,
but
that could have
someone
been.
someone from the family. Um, and it was a really, really cool little tour of that cemetery. I really kind of enjoyed that as well. Um, because we got to see, we saw where they're actually buried, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm sure
yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
Which just adds more to the, like, that's nice that they do that, because it adds more again to just, hey, this is real,
Right, yeah.
like this is it can be fun, to do this stuff. It can be interesting, but yeah, here's
These were real people.
these were real people. Yeah. um and the tour, because I think we went to the house first, possibly, and then the cemetery, and then we came back to the house. For some reason, I have that in my head, but
That sounds right.
I remember I talked about it last time, the heaviness that I felt when I walked in, and I think Blair shared in that heaviness with me because we discussed it. Also had our little acknowledgement when we first um, felt what we did there. What was your like experience like when you first walked in, like your first thoughts and feeling?
I gotta reach way back in the memory bank
Yeah.
there, but I think if I remember right, it was just kind of like walking into. I think it was just kind of the smell, and it wasn't like a
Mm,
bad smell. It was just the smell of like a musty kind of old house, and I think it seemed pretty quiet, which probably any house you walk into is quiet, but I think it just felt really still when I walked in. And of course you're on edge thinking about like, oh, what are we gonna find? What's gonna be like? And I don't
hmm.
think there was any immediate um feelings or evidence or weird things that happened. Yeah, right away to begin with, I don't think there was anything that happened to me.
To you, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you didn't have like the that feeling that I did, I guess
Right.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, that I described. What do you think about that giant sign that they have out front? I honestly don't like it.
No, I think if I was a neighbor, that's probably what would annoy me for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of gaudy and like almost a little, I don't know if I want to
Amusement
say,
parky, like,
yeah,
come to the haunted house, come to the
yeah,
wacky shack.
yeah. Um, and as like somebody who really enjoys visiting historical sites
Well,
too.
yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely not the kind of like bronzed historical marker that you see at like a rest area or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like something like that a little more low key would do just fine.
It's big like cartoon font with like red letters. I can't remember. Is it like dripping blood?
Yes. Yeah, and there might even be a picture of an axe on it. I don't know if you can key that up whenever, and I don't know. I did not like. Because yeah, could you imagine at like a Civil War battlefield if like they had like a cartoony sign like that on I don't know, like a key part of the battlefield with like blood dripping and soldier like
Like
cartoon
a
cannon.
cartoon cannon with a cannonball knocking away somebody's legs.
Yeah. So if you're driving by that house, there's probably you're probably in that neighborhood because either A, somebody you know lives nearby, or B, you already know about the Villisca house and you're going there to visit it.
Right,
Because
yeah.
it's not really in a part of the town that's on the way to anywhere.
No, no, it wasn't like the sign was bringing people in.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe they should move that out to the interstate.
Or in
North.
inside the barn.
Better yet, better yet. Yep. Yeah. And we set up in like the patio part of the barn for Wyatt's video equipment, right?
I think
Like
so,
kind of
yeah.
like we had that as kind of the main station, and we ran his camera, like what, wires to the cameras into the house. Um
We had what, three or four cameras stationed in there,
hmm
which was really neat because you could watch what was going on. We had some people outside and some people inside. There's
Yep.
no
Yep.
sound, but it was like the little closed circuit TV or whatever.
Correct. For the sound, I'm pretty sure it was just recorders that we set in places, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he didn't have a mic or anything that I can remember anyway.
I
Um,
would I would have thought that I would have brought my video camera, but for some reason I almost think that I brought my camcorder and like the battery was dead when I got there or something like that. I don't
yeah.
remember having video footage of it.
Yeah, that'd be odd for you not to have your video camera with you because you always had a video camera
Yeah, I was always
like
running around with that.
constantly.
Got video footage of Dustin climbing out the window of Tanner.
Yep, yep. I think like wasn't I think actually one of the first times I met you, I was looking through a video camera. I don't know
Yeah,
whose it was.
that was mine. I think
Was it
Dustin
you?
borrowed it. Yeah, and you guys met me at the cemetery.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, anyhow, so we set up in these places, and I'll see if I can maybe find some pictures of it and send them to you or something. To kind
And
of,
the weather was really nice. I remember that.
yeah, it was pretty nice. Warm. It was warm, a warm summer, you know, summer day, but like it was fairly pleasant.
I remember,
Because
yeah, people were worried it was going to be too hot to sleep inside the house, but then everybody was too afraid to sleep inside the house anyways. So y'all slept on the ground outside. I stayed up the whole night.
yeah,
It's because I
yeah,
wasn't driving. So
yup, yup. Um, so the first thing that I remember that was kind of weird. It didn't happen to me. It was to the biggest skeptic that we had in our group, at least from what I could tell in talking to everybody, who kind of tagged along with Wyatt. I'm just going to call him Jason because that's coming into my head. But
and this was
uh,
still daylight when you went in,
it
right?
it was daylight, and it was very quick into when we kind of got all set up and we're starting to go and do our thing and go into different spots of the house and sit there and just kind of take it all in and uh, try to do the little recorder sessions where you talk to yourself and your recorder. Hey, is if anyone is here, can you please, basically trying to emulate what we see on TV
Right.
from Grant and who's the other dude's name that was in Ghost Hunters?
I think that was Jason, wasn't it? Maybe not. I don't
Jason. Oh
know.
yeah, it
It's
was.
been
I
a
think it
long
was
time since I've
Jason.
watched that show.
It's been a very long time for me
But yeah,
too, but
we'd ask yes or no questions like
mhm.
knock once for yes and twice for no or something, or is anybody there? It was
Yep.
really juvenile, amateur, stupid to begin with, but I feel like we did get some stuff.
Yes. Yes, we did. So after the dude's experience downstairs in the girls' room, that's
Well,
that's kind of
he wasn't even there by himself. I feel like we were kind of all packed around in that area, weren't we?
we were kind of in that area. I think he was in the closet kind of by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden he was just like, "Oh, like oof, like I don't know," and he just like left the house, just was like, "Whoop,"
Yeah, because like
and
he had a reaction like, have you ever felt claustrophobic where like all of a sudden you just like, oh, I gotta get out
mhm,
of here. Like
yep,
that's definitely the reaction he had, where it was just like
mhm.
he saw something or heard or felt or just experienced something that did not settle right with him, and he had to get out of the house.
Yeah, no one else saw it. We just saw him reacting, and like we're like, what? Like what's going on? And and at that point, whatever that heaviness feeling that I had, that had kind of subsided. That initial my initial physical reaction to the house, and I was just kind of like, um, doing my thing, and so when that happened, of course, I'm like, did it really happen? Like, did that really happen to
Yeah,
him?
because
Like,
we thought that he
because
was joking or something.
yeah, and he was like, hell no. And he definitely seemed like very, very genuine about what he experienced in there, where he felt in presence. I think he even said, yeah, like he felt something touch him and he may like maybe even like seen something in there in that closet. Um
That would do it for me.
yeah. And so we kind of recoup, go over that. We go back in and we're doing our thing, and um, I would say it started to get dark pretty
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
I don't really remember the waning sunlight, you know. Like
I don't.
I remember everything happening to me after it was dark. So
Yeah, yeah. What like the flashlight? That was like the one of the things that we all saw
hmm and
as a
I
group.
right before this I texted John to see, ask him if he had any mind-blowing experiences that he could remember, and that was the first thing he said was a flashlight too.
Yeah. Um,
Actually, the flashlight just like this. Because I know I told my mom about it, and she's like, "Oh, are you sure somebody wasn't just standing in the other room hitting hitting the light switch or
We
whatever.
were not. No one was in the other room.
No, and it was a flashlight like this that we brought that you
Mm-hmm.
twist uh, on and off. And the
Mm-hmm.
idea is that you like twist it just barely off so that the ghost or whatever could, respond with turning it
Mm-hmm.
on. And we put it on the floor in kind of in that doorway to the bedroom where Jason saw that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were asking it questions. And this is kind of where I began to feel like the temperature getting colder in the room
Yes. Yep.
and little things like it felt like
That happened.
something was like grabbing. I know a few people like felt like little tugs at their clothing and stuff.
I felt a tug like around my neck, like something went, and it went. And the crazy thing was, um, it was almost like it was almost kind of like the wave.
Yeah, like it got each one of us like in succession.
Yeah, and it happened. It happened fairly instantaneous too. Like it wasn't like I had looked over, or like somebody was like, and reacted. Like we all kind of were like, and it happened almost at once. I'm like, oh God, like you guys feel that? Like what? And
'Cause it was dark. There's no lights on in
yeah,
there. Maybe a little bit of
no,
street light coming through the window or something, but we all kind of described similar experiences right at the same time.
yeah. So the flashlight then it started like responding to some of the questions we were asking it. It felt like after we would ask the question, it would turn on and then it would like slowly dim out. And it
Hmm.
wasn't doing it in a way. I wish I could really find some of the video of it. It wasn't doing it in the way that it's like malfunctioning or it that I've ever seen a flashlight malfunction.
It wasn't just like randomly flickering on and off and on and off. It's like it was off, and then we would be like, is there anyone that here wants to talk to us? And then it would be like,
Like,
and it would turn
yep.
on, and it would go off. Then it would be off until we asked another question. I know we had Blair play the piano, and we like, did you like that? And it would come back on, and it was super weird because, like you said, it wasn't just a malfunctioning flashlight. It was directly in response to the questions we were asking.
And the brightness of it was varying in
Yeah.
certain degrees too, which was odd. And it wouldn't do it like instant, like a flashlight. If it was malfunctioning, if it was flickers, it would be like you would see it would like gradually it would go brighter, and then sometimes it would just like gradually go to a different level of brightness and then hold for a bit and then go down, or it
Mm-hmm.
might go up again and hold for a bit. And when he played Amazing Grace on the piano, that thing freaking lit up like really, really bright, man. I think is what that part is what blew my mind, especially because we went with that angle. Okay, this family was religious. Um, maybe Blair should play something on the piano, and like, would you like Blair to play um, uh, a song? And I don't know if we asked him like what song or whatnot, but like Blair sat down and played Amazing Grace on the very finely tuned piano that was in that old house. But it seemed to really appreciate that. And where that happened, where that flashlight was sitting was in the same area where Jason had his experience
Yeah,
in the
pretty close.
closet.
And very
And
close to where your picture was
my
taken.
yep, that same exact area. Um, and I don't feel like what was down there was necessarily like mad though,
I was
which
gonna say,
was
like the little tugs that we felt and stuff, it didn't feel like malicious. It was just kind of like a little, hey you,
mm-hmm,
like something kind of like just kind of tapping at us.
mm-hmm. And okay, and then after this, I think we all went back outside for a little bit to get a breather or take a breather after that
Hmm.
kind of started to die down. And I remember we were all sitting around and no one was really talking. And we were just kind of like, what was that? That just happened in there. Like it was that interesting and unexplainable of an experience for everybody. And I think that was really cool that our group got the chance to have something like that because, like I said, I didn't know what to expect when I went in that house. I was like,
Right. I thought it was just gonna be dark and kind of creepy and like, ooh, I heard a floorboard creak, or like
mhm.
it was. I think we were all wanting something to happen, so probably not everything we experienced was true paranormal, but um, like I felt cold spots in there too. Again, is that real or was it just my body acting weird or whatever? But it felt like you could kind of feel like walking through the house, like all of a sudden there'd be like it would just be kind of cold in a certain spot.
I felt that at Gettysburg too,
Yeah.
outside, which was weird.
But like the flashlight,
Yeah.
like that, you can't really get around that. Like that's something, and it was our own flashlight, so it wasn't like a flashlight they let us borrow that was rigged to flash or whatever. They just are really weird, and it wasn't scary. Like that wasn't scary.
No, it was captivating. Like we were
Mm-hmm.
all we you couldn't look away.
It's like we were playing with it, and they were playing with us, kind
Yeah,
of like having a little conversation or whatever.
yeah. And then like I said, we like going outside and we were all just just the quiet and just like trying to take and then you try to take it in like what exactly happened and I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I like to how I like to present it to people because I can truly say what I experienced and what I saw, but I, what is it? I think that's a part of the intrigue of the paranormal when those things happen to you is like I just don't know. Uh,
Well, yeah, and there's some
Yeah.
people that are like, "Oh, it's definitely grandma trying to communicate with you," but it's like, "Oh, okay, maybe."
Yeah. Do I think it was something otherworldly? Yes, I do. I think there was an experience that we had
Well, that
that
that picture that you took with
yeah,
a disposable camera, just something like this, right? That's what you
yeah.
used.
Yep.
Um, it definitely looks like the head and shoulder, like silhouette of a figure. And I think the what we were kind of, I don't know if it was our idea or if we had looked it up online or something like that, but the fact that it's upside down, like, doesn't mean that the figure is upside down, but the way that camera lenses work, how it kind of inverses or refracts the light, a lot of times, like when you take a, well, how it works when you take a picture, it inverses the image and it'll print it on the negative upside
Hmm.
down. But
Correct.
the energy of the ghost, we'll call it, or whatever, the imprint of it. Holy crap, we're running out of time already. Um, on the
Oh,
Zoom, we might have to.
whoops.
Oh, we got like 10 minutes. Okay, but like we were kind of thinking that it imprinted itself right side up on the negative, where the image refracted itself upside down.
I think it looked upside down on the negative, possibly. I wish I still had the negative, but um but I know what you're talking about because that theory is out there that that's how that's how like some of those that appear upside down
Because
in
we didn't think the
photos.
ghost was like floating upside down through the room.
No, no, and yeah, and looking it up and doing some research on it, like there's other pictures out there that have happened that are similar. I think the fact that I know it was on the negative, but the fact that it is on the negative also shows like it wasn't a defect of the development process
True.
itself.
And it wasn't
And
wasn't an edited image. It was just
no,
printed off, uh
there was no other image. And I mean, I took a ton of photos and there was zero that had anything
and you can tell it's not like a
like it.
shadow. It's not like we took a picture of the wall with you standing in front of a light. Like
Yeah,
the shadow almost looks like kind of three-dimensional. Like I don't know, it's
it blew
viewers
my
can see
mind.
it themselves, but yeah, that was something weird. It was like, holy cow, like right in that same spot where Jason experienced his freak out and the flashlight was working.
Mm-hmm. Another experience that I had, and I I think it was with John and Mac, was when we were up in the attic. Um, we were doing our little play ghost hunters thing,
Right.
and we heard a breath or a sigh, uh, and no one else was in the house at the time. And it kind of is coming back to me because didn't we try to do it in shifts where like a group would go in and kind of be in the same place so we could kind of rule out, okay, the noise is coming from downstairs
Right.
or another part of the house, and then the rest of us were in the barn where the cameras were, and we're kind of watching the cameras and seeing if we saw anything weird happen on the cameras. And then
I think,
that
did we have
happened.
walkie talkies too, maybe?
I think we did have something like
Yeah.
that
And I know
for sure.
anytime like if you would make a noise, like if you kick something or your shoe squeaked, like you'd just be like, oh, that was me. Like that was my
Hmm.
shoe making a weird noise.
Yep. And we would always ask, was somebody down around this part of the house or in the front of the house, or like, because the breath or the sigh that we all heard when we were up there, it came from like kind of behind us in the attic, and it did feel like it was up in the attic with us when we all heard it at the same
I
time.
remember you talking about that, yeah. Because it was
Uh
just kind of like a
like a And I wish I could find those recordings of it because I'm pretty sure that you could hear it on the recording. You can definitely hear us all react to it because we
Mhm.
all we all reacted at the same time. It wasn't in our heads. I also heard a really loud popping noise coming from outside of the house. A loud there's like a cannon, I think, sound of air.
That's right. I came in the house, didn't I? And I tried to get you with the Airzuka. I
And
borrowed
then
that from Hagen. It was like a thing that you like pull back a bag and it goes, like shoots a ball of air.
and I came down, and I wasn't like mean about it,
You
but
scolded
I,
me.
I did scold
You're like,
you.
we're
I
trying to do something serious here.
and you like, that's the birthplace of, what are you, pissed? Because that was like what you responded to me at, and I was just
Well,
like, no, like we're trying to.
yeah, you reacted to my shenanigans and kind of you weren't very happy with it. So
Yeah, which is rare for me, like, because usually I'm pretty candid, and or not candid, I guess is the term, but like,
you like
it
to goof
wasn't.
off.
Yeah, it wasn't in the norm of my response
That's why
to.
I was like, what are you pissed?
Yep, yep. You're like, what? Luke is dad voicing me, and he's not even a dad. uh, but yeah. So we had that happen up in the attic, and
Now,
we
do I remember correctly that inside the attic, looking out the door there, like out to the hallway or whatever, the bedrooms, was was somebody seeing like somebody looking around the corner, like a little kid kind of looked like it was like looking around the corner,
yeah, I
like
can't
around the door
remember.
frame. I can't
Yep.
remember if I'm making that up in my head or if somebody had experienced that.
The No, that sounds pretty familiar, actually. I can't remember if it was Mac or if it was no, like Wyatt or one of them that. And whatever you just brought up there, like, it does ring a bell, and but I don't feel like the person was necessarily convinced that it was something paranormal.
Oh,
It
like
was
they maybe
just,
just saw something out of the corner of their eye or something like
yeah,
that.
where they're just like, like, that could have been something, but dude, I see shit like that in my house
That's true.
sometimes,
It
just.
scares me at work. Sometimes I work up at the one building that there's not a lot of people there, and I'm there late at night. And I wear safety glasses that have kind of like side shields that are not real clear plastic. And I see stuff out of the corner of my eye all the time. And it's just like,
Yep.
oh, what was that?
Yep. Yeah, it happens a lot. you know,
Well, especially when you're looking for stuff, you know,
yeah,
when you have your senses heightened because you expect to see a ghost.
yeah, like and because at my house on the outside of it, um, like birds always fly around. So like when, you know, like I'll have that sometimes where I think sometimes it's just a bird that,
Oh, for sure.
but I mean, obviously in this case at Villisca, yeah, who
Well, there
knows what
was a
they
bat
saw.
flying around inside. Remember that?
I don't.
Yeah, we saw it on
No.
the closed circuit
Okay.
television where there's like a bat flying around inside there.
Yeah. Um, and some of the audio recordings, like there was some weird sounding, they call them EVPs.
Electronic voice phenomenon.
Yeah. Um, where it definitely sounded in a few places that there was some weird voices. I think that with EVPs, EVPs are a weird thing because you can watch one of those ghost hunters shows and or just listen to an EVP over and over again, and somebody's like, "No, it's saying, uh, hello, David." You know, we'll go back to
Yeah,
Dave, and then you hear it, and it just sounds like, and it's like, yeah, you're like, "Hello,
yeah.
David."
Like
Like,
it's
what?
kind of a stretch a lot of times. And I think we did, like you said, we did hear some weird stuff because I know I'm not sure about you, but I think John definitely spent some time listening to those recordings like over and over again and really listening. And I think there was a couple that you could kind of be like, oh, that did sound like it said something, but it's nothing so remarkable that I even remember what it said, you know?
Yeah, like I think one was "Let's hunker down" is one that it kind of sounded like
Oh,
let's hunker down, and then another one was like "Go to the back room," and um a lot of it, I think a lot of those might have been from upstairs, um, around the attic or something,
oh yeah.
which is where the killer was, you know, theorized in some circles where he might have hidden.
Right. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I think me and Mac spent a little time in the kids' bedroom and in that closet.
Yeah, because you and Max stayed up later than most of us.
Yeah. Um, and it's funny because Blair bought a case of beer because he thought we were gonna party, but then he found out that like we were there for like serious investigative, you know, stuff. So he didn't drink it all, but I know he had a case of Miller High Life. And everybody was too afraid to sleep in the house, which fair enough. Like, so you guys all slept outside on the ground, which I feel like I have pictures of that somewhere, maybe. But um I decided to start drinking at like 4:30 in the morning. I was like, all right, well, I guess now's a good time as any. I'll drink Blair's beer. So I think I had like 6 beers or whatever.
And didn't Mac have some with you too?
Can't remember probably, but um
Um,
yeah, we went back in the house and we stayed up in the up and investigated stuff. And that's actually where my most uh memorable moment happened was after you guys all went to bed.
really?
Yeah, like we were upstairs and we had like investigated with the recorder in the kids' bedroom. Nothing happened, nothing happened. And it's so funny because like John was so pissed at Mac because Mac would do a countdown. He'd be like, if there's anybody that's there, can you make a noise at the countdown? And he'd be like 10, 9, and he'd count down all the way from 10. And John's just like, oh my God. Like this countdown kept happening like over and over and over
That's
again.
funny. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so like nothing was happening, and then we were in the parents' bedroom at the top of the stairs there, and we were trying to like interact with whatever, and all of a sudden, like from right behind me, I could hear breathing, and it was like a raspy, like, and Mac was in front of me to my left. So like I stopped breathing. I was like trying to listen so hard, and it was this disembodied breath in the dark behind me. And maybe it's because I had been drinking, but I wasn't even like scared. I was just like interested. I was like, that is really weird. And
And
like,
that's really close to the attic, obviously, like too, like where
yeah,
we heard, me, John, and Mac had heard a sigh or a breath
yeah,
up in that
it
attic.
was just the weirdest thing because it wasn't me breathing, it wasn't Mac, and it was such a sound that was just like right here, and
Hmm.
there was nothing there, and like I think we probably even turned on the light, just to make sure or whatever, but it was just you got goosebumps, but it was just kind of like that is interesting. Like it normally you'd think you hear something like that and be like, oh shit, and like, run out the door. But I must have had just enough beer in me where I was like, oh, weird.
Yeah, it was crazy how right at the beginning we had a guy that had an oh shit moment, and what he described definitely would have made me go oh shit too, I think, because it sounded scary.
Yeah.
Um, but everything else, it was kind of just interesting and just made you kind of want more. Like, in like, is there more like that can happen? Like I can't explain what just happened to me, but it wasn't like, oh, I got to run out of the house,
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of deal, like the one guy did. Um, yeah. We, so like you guys wrapped up, and did you stay up like the whole night
Yeah.
until
Sun came up, like we stayed up all
maybe,
night. But that, like I said, it's
and
because I didn't have to drive. I think I slept on the way home, whoever was driving, which
yeah.
was real nice of me. But I was like, I want to experience the whole night, try to. And like if I had gone to bed, I wouldn't have heard that breathing. And like I said, that was the most memorable besides the flashlight, experience.
Hmm. Yeah. So all in all, um, verdict. Like I I think, what's the verdict on it? I think I
Do
can
you
agree.
believe in ghosts definitively?
Yeah, yeah, I would say I do.
And
Um,
see, I don't I still can't say that I do.
yeah.
Like I know that weird stuff happened, but like I
Mhm.
try to like even crazy theories of my own. It's like, well, maybe collectively, psychically, we were turning the flashlight on and off. Like I don't know, was it a ghost that was over there going? you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean,
Weird shit definitely happened though.
let me clarify. Do I believe that they exist? Yes, and I'm also taking into account other evidence I've seen in other people's accounts in other places too. Um, because I think that there's some pretty credible sources and some pretty good um, research that has been done on the subject over the years, where I don't think people are trying to bullshit you, right?
Right.
And I think there's a lot of that though, where people are trying to bullshit you.
For sure.
Um, and
Not us though. We're
no,
credible.
yeah, but I'll clarify what I meant there. Do I believe ghosts exist? Yes, I do. However, with my Villisca experience, um, I don't want to say that it definitively was a ghost. You know
Right. And it
that.
comes down like what is a ghost? Is it an apparition, a spirit, a soul? Like,
Mhm.
like what was it that we were experiencing? I have no freaking idea. I just know it was really weird.
Yeah, yeah. And then, do I think Villisca is haunted? I do. I think there's an energy there. Again,
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Is it a ghost? Is it just uh like I said, an energy that has just been captured there? Um, I mean, if you take those EVPs and like the picture that appears to be a human form, um, yeah, I don't know. And the flashlight, if you put all that together, um, you could come to the conclusion it is an intelligent haunting.
Right.
But yeah, it's odd that your head, like, that I'm even hesitant to say definite what I experienced
I
was.
mean, could it all be bullshit? It's possible, but
Yeah.
it was a wild ride for sure. I know there's a point where you know, I'm pretty sure I had my video camera because I remember being in the basement, which was just a hole in the ground, like a
Oh
literal
yeah,
like
then
root cellar.
yeah,
And I
nothing.
was down there with John and had my night vision on. And I was like, is there anybody down here that wants to talk to us? Are there any ghosts? Are there any demons? And John was like, don't do that. Don't say that. I was like, oh, okay.
He scolded you too.
Yeah, he's like, don't bring the demons on us. Like, yeah, fair enough.
That's
That's a good point.
that's awesome. So yeah, we like it was
It
it
was
was a
fun.
it was fun. All in all, it was fun. I won't ever forget doing that. Um, and the just like the crew that we had put together for it was very unique, really. Like
Hmm.
it was fun to see Wyatt from Iowa Falls, who went to high school with, and um, meet I keep saying Jason, I'll keep saying it, meet that guy, and see him have an experience that seemed very genuine to him. Um, and just hang out with you guys and get to do that. One um thing that happened in the aftermath, um strangely enough, I wasn't as interested in watching paranormal TV shows after that
Huh. That's a good
as
point.
much.
I don't, I mean, I know I definitely stopped watching those at some point. I don't know if it's just because I saw a bunch of them. I mean, I'll still catch one here or there, but I don't know if that was a direct response from me, but that's interesting that you kind of lost interest in it. Uh,
Yeah, and
The
it
thing
it
is that
wasn't.
like our experience was like I feel like we experienced a lot more than whatever ghost hunters, shows at the end of the show, like their experiences. Like you guys didn't capture shit.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it stressed Grant out a lot, actually. You
Like we're
could
not
see it.
finding anything. Our
You could
ratings are going down.
you could see it in his face. Oh, poor Grant. No, I know he had a lot of personal stuff going on at that time too, I think.
Yeah,
And
like his Twitter
um
account being talked to by you.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, I wasn't always the uh nicest to celebrities in those days, even if I liked them. Oh man, I was a troll. Um, oh, but uh, yeah, it wasn't like the interest stopped immediately. I like would watch a show and then like I was just like, it's not really doing that, like I could do something different,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of slowly just kind of went faded away or whatever. So,
And on the flip
um,
side, you didn't like keep going back to haunted houses. Like you didn't keep chasing the ghost. Like,
no, no,
yeah, it was a
no.
fun experience, but it was enough.
Still interests me. I think it'd be fun to go back and go, to a different place that's supposedly haunted and try to do the same kind of thing. I don't know if I would do it in the same exact way as we did it.
Well, like I said, with
Uh,
new technology, I think it would be different. Even like
yeah,
Hagen showed me his drone over the weekend. That
mm,
thing's bananas, dude. We were at my
yeah,
parents' house and he flew the drone all the way over the farm. He said
yep,
it's got like an 18-kilometer reach. It's
that's cool.
wild. It's wild.
Yeah, Marx is really into the drones too, and I think like my cousin Jake and Dugan that kind of have dabbled in it a little bit. I
Didn't
haven't
Jake
really.
lose one in the water?
I think he did. I think he did lose
I
one in
think
the
he told
water.
me. I think he told me he was on a boat, and like the drone went up, and like it hit something and just went right in the water and disappeared.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing with drones is you can put thousands of dollars into that if you really wanted to, and it could just go away in an instant with just one little either user error,
Mishap.
mechanical mishap, or just a freak incident or something. Like a bird just flies into it. Whoop, there's your drone.
Yeah.
We've had like I've seen people talking about like what is a drone? There's like a drone that's been like hovering over by my house, and like it's
Oh,
hovering,
really?
and like I've heard stories, and I'm actually one of a couple that Megan and I are friends with told me that they heard a buzzing noise like outside their window once and looked out, and there was a drone like literally like right outside their window, and when they noticed it, it like went away.
That's
And
spooky. Like,
yeah,
if that happened and you were at your parents' house, would you just shoot it down with a shotgun?
yeah, I probably would.
I mean,
Um,
obviously, we both live in town, so like,
yeah,
probably not at your house, but
there was one when I was I can't remember if there was anyone else out with me. It might have been like Megan or my brother. I think somebody was out with me, but a drone flew right over like my fire pit when I was outside having a fire pit. And it was fairly low, like I could clearly see and hear it, and I just started flipping it off. And like it just like, because we were drinking and stuff. So
yeah,
like I was feeling wipey, and um yeah, I was, just doing stupid stuff at it, and then eventually it went away.
that's
But
funny.
I wasn't like put off by it. I was just like, fuck you.
Well, yeah, right now it's
So
probably just your neighbors fucking around, but I'm sure in the near distant future it'll be the IRS and the CIA and the FBI and be keeping tabs on all of us,
they probably got stuff that are way smaller too than that.
like little flies.
I've heard about those, but that'd be an interesting topic for the next show to do a little
Birds
quick,
aren't real.
yeah, like do a little quick thing about that.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds good. So keep an eye on the future and you'll catch a episode about drones. From
yeah,
ghosts to drones, this is the
yep.
abandoned cockpit signing off. We'll see you next
Later.
time, Luke.
Yep, sounds good, Bjorn. Later, man.